Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the State of the League podcast. No longer a preseason podcast, now a regular season podcast, because we're in the regular season. And what team matters more, defines the regular season more than the Sacramento Kings? There's probably a couple out there, but today we're talking about the Kings. I'm joined by Jack, the Kings fan, and Aaron from Possiblechairs on TikTok. I'll start with Jack because you got a great name. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be here with another NBA Jack.
Hell yeah. Solidarity, baby.
Yeah,
Aaron, how are you?
solidarity.
This is like nameism. I'm being discriminated against. I'm doing fantastic. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no reason to not be doing fantastic when the Kings are a glorious 1-0, pretty dominant outing against the Utah Jazz last night, thanks in no small part to. I'm trying to think of a random player besides Harrison Barnes, but Harrison Barnes was cooking, and that was fun to see. Especially after, was he not very good in the playoffs for you guys? I feel like he bricked a game winner,
He's
maybe
awful.
two.
He was awful. He was just terrible. He missed the game, what would have been the game winner in game four, which would have likely won the series.
Damn. Ooh.
I think he
Yeah.
shot 22% from three in that series. He was like 9 points a game, ice cold.
Well, total redemption. Now he's broken even because he scored 33 in a season opener. So we love to see that. The first question I'm rolling out for you guys today are how are we feeling about where the Kings are currently sitting at as a franchise? Aaron, I'll give you the floor after the name discrimination. What are we thinking?
I'm feeling fantastic. Are you kidding me? We won 47 games last year. Is it 47? And we made the playoffs. We missed the playoffs basically my entire life. I grew up watching basketball, watching a losing team every single year. Even though I get frustrated watching the games because I'm like a basketball pessimist and any amount of losing, I'm like, this team's garbage and I hate them. Um, I have to remind myself what like John Salmons was like and what Hassan Whiteside was like in those fleeting minutes, and like how Hassan Whiteside both times, or Buddy Healed, or the guys of the like. Um, it's been fantastic playing actual winning basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack, what are your thoughts on that?
Beyond just playing winning basketball, it's so unbelievably refreshing to be relevant. Just not just in the relevant in the sense that the media will occasionally talk about you a little bit. You're just part of the fun all of a sudden. I remember when I was like a little kid, I went back and read an article I wrote for my like middle school newspaper getting all excited about George Hill as an acquisition. And now I'm like, "Oh, hey, we were linked to Bradley Beal. We were linked to all these star players. I'm included in the rest of the NBA now."
Yeah, absolutely. That's
I,
very interesting just cuz I don't know. There are teams there's a pretty like definitive line where someone says they're a fan of a team and like Kofi, he's a fan of the Pistons. And when I learned that, I was like that's really tough. Like that's a brutal existence. And when I hear someone's a fan of the Kings, it was like that for my entire life. But now the Kings fucking rock. So like yeah, in terms of relevance, just in terms of like a lot of people that I know that aren't Kings fans will 100% throw on a Kings game because they are so like entertaining and such a nuclear offense and things like that. That has got to be very refreshing, like Aaron said.
I remember when Charles Barkley mentioned the Kings for the first time on TNT. I was like, holy shit! Like we're
It's
on that.
happening.
Like he talked about us. Like
Right.
we're good enough where Charles Barkley sat there and is like, I guarantee the Kings are gonna win. I'm like, that's insane. Just be a part of that conversation and even recognized is like kind of fun. And to be the also like last off season to be the hot take, like, ooh, Kings might win 45 games this year. Like, is this the year? And people are taking the over on our win totals. Like, there's people talking about us, guys. Like, what do we do?
Yeah. The Kings are in an interesting spot, just in terms of like how people have kind of treated them this offseason, because I personally feel like the continuity that Sacramento is bringing this season, just in terms of like everybody's young, everybody's good, and everybody is coming back for the most part. I think in a Western Conference that's introducing so many variables, that continuity is like a valuable thing. You're going to be able to take the success last year, and I don't know if you're going to build on it in the win total, just because the West is going to be a fucking bloodbath. But I think in terms of like the level of basketball that Sacramento is going to be playing, I think bringing everybody back is a good thing. However, a lot of talking heads, I don't know if it's just because like people like to shit on small markets or whatever. They're just like, oh well, Sacramento was super healthy last year. That shit's not repeating. They're like a 6 seed at best, and I don't know. I really don't agree with that. I think at the bare minimum, they're built to succeed in the regular season, and I think depending on the matchup, I think they got a shit matchup in the playoffs last year with the Warriors. They could be like a noisy team in the playoffs.
Me and Jack recorded a full hour and a half Kings preview like last week, and we spent about an hour of it talking about how to replace like Harrison Barnes, and he played, and then he was the best player in Game 1, and we're 1-0, and I think it speaks to that continuity. We talked ourselves into Kyle Kuzma, into whoever. It was pretty much like set in stone. If we get better, if we improve, it's gonna be in the Harrison Barnes spot. But maybe like re-signing him and just coming back day one, everyone's on the same page. We know what the foundation is. We know what kind of basketball we play is a real advantage because almost every other team is working out their new cores or they're coming back from injury. Also on the health point, like being healthy can be lucky, but sometimes that's just what teams are. Like Darren Fox doesn't get hurt. Sabonis just doesn't get hurt. And to say like, oh, they were so healthy, you watch out for the Clippers. Like the Clippers get hurt every year. Like
Yeah.
that's just a part of this. That's not a luck thing. Like Kawhi's gonna miss 30 games, and same with Paul George.
It's funny how completely overblown this whole Kings were healthy issue that people have found with the Kings is. It's totally the Monte Carlo fallacy where you're just flipping a coin and expecting that odds to get even better every time you flip it the same way. The Clippers are going to stay getting hurt. The Kings are not because the Kings are designed not to get hurt. I hate to jinx it. I'll knock on some wood.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of this is because the Kings are totally built to withstand minor injuries and to keep guys healthy. The Clippers are running 8 to 9 man rotations on day one of the year. Kings could
against the Blazers.
Yeah.
Against the
Against
Blazers.
the Blazers.
Oh my
We
god.
could realistically have ran a 13 man rotation last night and been fine. Not a problem. There's 13 guys on the roster. I'm okay with being in the game.
Yeah, especially in like a blowout victory like that. I don't know. It's the health thing that I don't like, and like the health leads into my next point. I don't like people kind of freaking the fuck out that Sacramento's window is like right now because they moved a baby and Buddy Hield for now. I think the oldest player in their core at like 27 years old with Sabonis. Don't get me wrong, like they're not like they want to get better as soon as possible, but a 27-year-old, like the window is opening for Sacramento right now. And the way a lot of people talk about the team is that like I don't know, it's just going to be gone in a blip. I think they've set themselves up really well for all of their best players to be really good and play really well off of each other for like 4 or 5 years into the future. And that's, I mean, I think they have a lot of opportunity to upgrade that Harrison Barnes spot, like you guys said. And I think doing that would, I mean, elevate them even further into that. And if you get a player, I don't know, like Kyle Kuzma, who was thrown around, I think he fits their timeline really well too. And I think they're just going to be one of those teams that is healthy and a regular season, like 45 wins penciled in at minimum for the foreseeable future.
It's so funny how people talk about Sabonis like he's this old grizzled veteran, as if he's not younger than Jokic and Embiid and maybe a few months older than Bam Adebayo. He's not an old dude, even remotely.
And how old is Buddy Hield? You mentioned Hield.
He's
like,
30.
He's
Buddy
30.
Hield's 30. He's older than
He's
Sabonis.
ancient.
He's 30, and I don't want to like harp on the stereotypes that this is not true, but isn't it pretty like rumored that he's lying about his age, that he's actually much older? But I won't. I
No,
won't
30
get into
is
that.
his actual age. We thought he was 29.
Oh, okay. So we're starting with we're starting
Yeah.
with the fake age. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just two things. The first thing being with the health, just real quick. Like Sabonis broke his hand like really early in the season. He had his hand broken the entire time. Also, like we got killed in the rebounding battle, or Looney averaged like 20 rebounds per game in the first round, but Sabonis had like bruised ribs and a broken hand. It's like you go battle Kevon Looney and Draymond Green in a 7-game series with those kind of injuries. And the other thing is there are a few things you want to be in the NBA, which is good young, and not expensive. And the Kings have checked all those boxes. Like, they have talent, their contracts are good, and the team's fairly young. They have, I haven't broken it down perfectly, but probably a top 5 future in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Just based off the vibes, I don't have a list off the top of my head, but especially in terms of like the balance of what they look like 3 years into the future and how competitive they can also be this coming year, I would argue they're one of the best teams in that regard. Just because I think, yeah, like you said, I don't like the matchup they got in the playoffs. Sabonis was fucking like practically had a hole in his chest after, like, it felt like Draymond Green was just going at him the entire series. And a lot of the times when you get into a matchup like that, you'd be lucky to like break even with those two going at it physically, but then Kevon Looney on top of that, that's just too much for a front court that Sabonis is basically backpacking to handle. And I think a lot of that goes back to the matchup problem that I talked about. But oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I like where the Sacramento Kings are at. Hot take.
Hot take.
Okay. The second question I got for you guys today is, how are we feeling about the offseason moves? Pretty much just re-signing a lot of pieces, and then JaVale McGee and Vezenkov are my 2 bullet points for this section. I just want to know, I don't know, quiet offseason, but how are you guys feeling about it?
I can
I'm
take
feeling pretty
the
good about it. Go
Jack, I
ahead.
can take the McGee piece. You can take the
There we go.
Vezenkov piece. Perfect.
Perfect.
When we signed McGee, I was like, okay, like, I think he's washed. But a factor that I forgot to consider is that Jason Kidd is a fucking moron. He's the worst coach in the league, or one of the worst coaches. And I think McGee's fine. I think he's totally fine. He like heavily contributed to a really elite Suns team a couple years ago. Went to Dallas, shocker, playing with Lucas really hard. Now we're here, and he came in last night 4 for 4, had some nice hook shots, um, was able to run the pick and roll pretty well. And I really thought Alex Len was going to be our backup big, but it seems to be McGee, at least on day one, at least for that matchup. I'm curious to see if it's always Sabonis and then it's a Len McGee 50-50, depending on the size the other team has. Because the Jazz are they have Kessler, and it's like a Linux you're chasing around after that, and it's a different ball game. So I feel good about the McGee signing.
Jack, I want you to
Jack, go
talk
ahead.
because I got some fucking sirens going around my neighborhood right now, so I'm gonna be on mute.
Sasha Vezenkov, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited we got him over. I have been hyping him up since May. I've been so in on him. And what he is to the Sacramento Kings this year is like a $20 bill that you left in your jacket like 3 months ago. And you reach in there and you're like, oh my God, I'm having a great day today. I didn't need this $20, but I have $20. It was in my jacket pocket. It's just there. It's extra. I've got it. That's what Sasha is to this team. Anything he can provide us, that's what people don't understand, is he is our like 12th guy right now. Anything he can provide is awesome. And so far, what I've seen, he sort of is projecting as, if you remember when Niko Mirotic first came over to the NBA, he had that like 1-2 year stretch where it was really solid, like 12 points a game, maybe a rebound. He's a crap athlete. He's the same athletically as like Michelangelo's David, but he shoots. He's a great shooter, and he showed it off last night. He was 2 for 5, made his corner threes. He even got a block up. He's just a nice body to have. When you run pick and rolls that are a JaVale McGee, who's 6'11", and Sasha Vezenkov, who's 6'10", that's hard. A lefty 6'10" shooter is really tough to defend, no matter what.
Yeah, Vazenkov's release, it was blowing up on Twitter. It's fucking lightning. Holy shit. I mean, he holds the ball for like 4/10 of a second or something
Yeah.
like that. Get sports science in here. He looks nice. And I mean, yeah, it is I just threw him in here because I know Jack loves him, but I don't know. Meme guys can be fun, and meme guys can turn into meaningful contributors at points in the season. And I mean, was he MVP of the Euro League or just a league in Europe?
No, of the Euro League.
Okay.
So he was really fucking good.
Yeah, I mean,
Really,
that's
really
no
good.
joke. That's a competitive
Yeah.
league, and
That's a competitive
yeah,
league.
I like what that
The
brings.
addition you didn't mention, though, is on your bullet points, is Chris Duarte. We got Chris Duarte, and he played pretty well yesterday. He's beginning to spark a bit of debate between Kings fans about whether him or Herder should really have that role. He also looked pretty decent, he's making his shots, My favorite aspect, though, is he's got this pre-built chemistry with Sabonis from when they played together in Indiana. Looked great in game. Looked awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Herder fucked me up this postseason. Just in this, I mean, he fucked you guys up too, I'm sure. But just, I was
Mm.
so sold on him. He was phenomenal in Atlanta's series against Philadelphia when they upset them, and I was like, dude, Herder, he's like fucking Ginger Clay Thompson. Oh my god, like he can really shoot. And then I
Right.
loved his fit with Sacramento, and it worked out phenomenally for you guys in the regular season. He was one of the best shooters on the planet, and then 20% from three in the postseason. That's really hard. And it's tough to factor that in when you're comparing him to a guy like Duarte, who obviously wasn't really in the rotation on the roster during the postseason. So you can't see if he's gonna regress or not. And also it doesn't matter how bad you were in the regular or the postseason if you're trying to win games right now. But just in terms of like establishing who has that spot come like the playoffs or even later into the season, yeah, that playoff performance by Herder is definitely going to haunt me, and I'll think about it when I'm watching Duarte play.
Yeah, he doesn't look good to start the year. There's a lot of questions about. I really hope, because if he is good, then he's got one of the better contracts in the league. He's a 24-year-old 3-and-D guy, because he can defend. He's a decent defender who's on a 15 million a year contract. That's awesome if we can get that. But he's sort of shooting himself off the
Yeah,
court right now. He didn't start in preseasons. I mean, this is probably me being too locked in on the Kings, but whenever I watch clips of them in practice, he's running with the second team and Duarte's up there. He's losing his shot.
damn, you're fucking
I'm in
tapped
Yeah,
favor of
in,
that.
watching the
I'm
practices.
tapped
Holy
in.
shit, Aaron, how you
I'm in.
feeling?
Jack is tapped in. He'll like, I'll text him and he'll send me like a picture of a tweet. It's in Spanish because he speaks Spanish. I'm like, dude, you're on like Spanish Twitter and like on a king shit. Like I'm way out of the loop.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of Duarte starting. The thing with going from a bad team to a good one, and like you get really excited about the like, whoa, we made the playoffs. This is super exciting. The great teams don't give a shit, and they're like, we are gonna get better. And even though you helped us break through, you helped us get from bad to good, like your spot isn't guaranteed. And if Herder is shooting like shit, then it's gonna be Chris Duarte's spot to grab. But I mean, Herder last season, like 200 made threes, like 40% from three. He was awesome. I don't think this would be a bad season from him, but his leash just isn't as long.
Yeah, I can understand that. And that is kind of the point that the Kings are at, where I think if they got that complacency that you mentioned, that is where they run the risk of becoming like a team that I won't say they peaked last season or anything, but that's where you run the risk of regression, is when you're just like comfortable and trying to be as good as you were last season. The goal remains the same even when you were trying to be just like a playoff team, is that eventually you want to get to like legitimate championship contender level. And so you kind of have to make, I don't know, quote unquote cutthroat decisions at some point. And yeah, it's game one. No need to overreact. This is all based on a lot of shit that is a very small sample size, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on throughout the season, because I definitely don't like Herder as much if he's not a really good 3-point shooter. Another fucking scorcher from the Jack camp. And then getting back to JaVale McGee, what I wrote down here was just I think it would have been good for Sacramento to have a guy with that amount of playoff experience in the rotation, like legitimately built into the rotation come the playoffs. I think it would have been good in terms of like keeping heads a little calmer, a little cooler against a matchup like Draymond Green in the front court, even if he's not like taking the brunt of the hits or anything. I think it's just one of those additions that for a team trying to inch their way up towards being a very legitimate title contender, I like it. I thought it was good, and I like him more than Alex Len as the backup. I will say that.
Can't disagree with you on that one. Alex Len is cool. He's a lot of fun to talk about. As an idea, he's really fun because he's not, but when you watch him live, it feels like he's the biggest player in the NBA. It's stupid how large that dude is. He's 7'4", like 250 pounds. He's enormous. If we have to stop Victor Wembanyama, do not be shocked if Mike Brown is like,
Oh
screw
my
it,
god.
Alex Len, your assignment, dude. Have fun.
I can't tell if that's the best or the worst matchup possible. I feel
Is
like
that a bad
attacking.
idea? Come
That's
on.
a terrible idea. That's fucking awful. I feel like we saw last night. Like the best way to attack Wemby already is the Grant Williams role. Like it's how
So
you stop
Trey
Giannis.
Lyles.
It's Trey Lyles actually might be better because he's
Yeah.
just really strong, able to stay in front of him. But yeah,
I
that's
mean,
not
yeah, with
Wembanyama would
Wemben,
dance on Alex Len's grave.
like if you're conceding the fact that you're not gonna even contest Wembanyama's jumper, which that's not going to happen. Nobody in the league can do that. Yeah, the Grant Williams approach made a lot of sense to me, and it worked really well in Dallas. Like just the con of Wemby's build is that when a guy gets into you like that, you can't even fucking dribble the basketball. Like Grant Williams can be in legal guarding position, standing directly where Wembanyama would be, like bouncing the basketball normally, just because there's such a huge size difference. And so, I mean, he kept it close by hitting a bunch of clutch jump shots down the stretch. I tuned back into the game. I thought Dallas was going to pull away with it, and they made it pretty uncomfortable or the Spurs made it uncomfortable for the Mavericks. But yeah, I don't know if Alex Len is the Wemby stopper that Jack describes him as.
We'll figure that out. Hey,
Hey, that's
we're
what
we
Davion
we
Mitchell
just
will come in. He'll do it.
they see this is the Muggsy Bogues thing. That's how
Yeah,
Muggsy Bogues
Davion
played in
Mitchell's
the
like
league.
5'11". He's got
Perfect.
this.
Because you're like, how did Muggsy Bogues play good defense? Like, have you ever tried dribbling against a guy who's on the floor, who's just a part of the floorboards? Like, he's like, as soon as you put the ball down, before it even gets back up to your hand, it's gone. You're like, holy shit! Like, where'd that go?
Yeah, we missed a major opportunity to have a Bogues Bowl photo shoot with Len and Davion Mitchell.
Damn.
That would have been really funny.
Have they done the who's the shortest guy on the Spurs? They got to figure that out. Who's the shortest guy in the league? Is there even anyone like?
Someone,
We don't have our 5'8"
someone
guys
call up
anymore,
Facu
right?
Campazzo, baby.
Campazzo, maybe.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
there
saying.
you go.
I think he
He's
might
not
still
in the
be in
league anymore,
Dallas.
man.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, they got to make that photo.
Yeah,
Who is the shortest guy on the Spurs? No,
I'm gonna guess Trey Jones off the top.
Yeah,
but
that's like a flat 6 foot.
yeah,
I don't
Trey
think
Jones?
Trey Jones is gonna agree to that. He's like,
Close,
oh, I'm the
close,
short guy, and like,
close. You've got the best driver on the team is also the shortest. Devontae Graham.
Devonta, damn.
that's such a the thing of like Manu Bull and Bogues are such like fun personalities. Like Devontae Graham would tell you to go fuck yourself. He's like, you want me to be the short guy
No.
on like the Wemby
You want me to
photo?
be in
Like,
your
get
silly
fucked,
photo
man.
shoot? Fuck off,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm gonna go drive drunk. That's what I'm gonna do.
Perfect. Thanks, Devontae. All right. My fourth question that I got for you guys is there a midseason trade you want or expect Sacramento to make? This one's tricky just in the sense that it was very clearly the Harrison Barnes role, and then Harrison Barnes fucking turned into a nuke last night. He has made Sacramento the league's overwhelmingly best offense just through sheer will. And so can you really look to replace somebody like that is the question, I guess.
So it's time to zag, and Aaron is going to absolutely love this because if there is one trade, I've been thinking about this all morning since I saw the report on Twitter. When the Chicago Bulls blow it up, they're going to be looking for somewhere to put Alex Caruso. And Sacramento, we'll give you Davion Mitchell. He's still kind of young. Maybe a second-round pick makes sweet deal. Get him in
25. I'm fucking dead.
He's 25.
Yeah.
He's young.
I could see like it's gonna take a first though, because other teams are gonna be willing to pay that.
Davion's a young asset. Davion protected first.
That's
I see it.
salary filler.
Salary
filler. It's gonna be unprotected first and Davion. I mean that'd be fantastic. Just he's just a much better player than Davion is. That's a good one. I was thinking like full on like DeMar DeRozan, but I probably would hate that. I'd probably hate that. And I still have Levine stock. Like I still see Levine as like, could he make the transition from like Bucks Ray Allen to like Celtics Ray Allen? But I think he might just be Zach LaVine on the Bulls all the time, which is much less fun. Man, the Caruso is good. My answer to this was going to be really lame and just say like, I want to maintain continuity and not give up our picks because if anything bad happens in Sacramento, which it always does, I want those first. I mean, there is a couple years where we were awful and we didn't have our first because we salary dumped fucking Jason Thompson and Nick Stauskas to the Sixers because they're fucking morons. And so that'd be nice not to have that happen. And just like, even though Barnes is like the trade piece, I feel like we don't have anyone that can really replace his production or his role on the team. And I think he just signed the extension, not this season, maybe next season, probably the season after that is when you see him flip. But I just want to maintain this core. I know most teams it sounds like purgatory, but I would love to win 45 games 3 straight years in a row. Like, holy crap, made the playoffs a bunch of times. Like,
Yeah.
this is great. And then you build from there. I'm not interested in mortgaging our future. But I don't see the path to championship contention as the team stands.
I certainly don't think that we're going to go for a star. I had 3 guys written down in terms of a midseason trade. I was looking at Caruso. I was looking at Javon Carter. He's also on the Bulls, older guy. They might want to move. I would love that. Last one I looked at was Matisse Thybulle. I just love the idea of having a gritty as hell defender coming off the bench. I don't know what you give up for Matisse or for Javon Carter for that matter, but I had those 3 names. They're teams that are selling defensive oriented guys, fringe dudes, not someone who's going to majorly shake the wagon.
Well,
the apple cart.
I got good news. Davion Mitchell to me jumps off the fucking page as a Bulls basketball player, just in the sense that they always have like 4 guards who are good on ball defenders and pretty much incapable of doing like other shit on the floor. Yeah, Ayo Dosunmu's pretty good at that. Like I don't know, Javon Carter, like you said, Alex Caruso, all that shit. And I like Caruso. I just put this question in here because I ask it for everybody, and I agree with Aaron that continuity right now is probably the best thing for Sacramento. I think next season's trade deadline is where I would probably expect Sacramento to get a little bit friskier, depending on how this postseason goes and everything. There's obviously a lot of balls still up in the air in that regard, but I think 2 years with the same group, that really gives you a solid idea of where the strengths and weaknesses are and what you need to like legitimately address by moving those assets. Because yeah, moving off of firsts for a market like Sacramento where you're not getting free agents and guys really like don't want to come unless they're being forced to a lot of the time. Speaking as a Denver fan, the same shit's going on. Yeah, you need to be very stingy. Like you can't afford to just make dumb shit just to shake it up so that your fans get excited for a little bit. And while Caruso would do that, and I think he moves the needle for Sacramento a little bit, I don't know. I like continuity for them pretty much.
It's the Iman Shumpert trade issue where I guess 2019, we were having a pretty good season, and Shump was kind of like, he's averaging like 8 points a game, but he's the veteran, like he's the guy. We ship him off for Alec Burks, and we fall to shit. And also, we just let all those guys walk anyways. That's the worst trade of my lifetime, was that one. Because the vibes can be ruined. You can't underestimate the vibes. And right now, everyone like is super into and bought into this system. And if like all of a sudden it's like Harrison Barnes is gone, here's some other guy who isn't bought into the beam. He doesn't know about the beam yet. And all of a sudden Fox is like, they traded my mentor, and Sabonis is not, he's unhappy too. You gotta get into it though. But
there's videos like post game where this new guy's like reaching for the button, and Fox like slaps his hand away. He's like, "You don't fucking get the beam, pal. You haven't earned that.
You don't understand it.
You don't know how the beam works. Come on."
I wanted to note though, Jack mentioned 3 players that are good at defense. The Kings have not had a good defense like 2005. I texted this stat to Jack a couple weeks ago. I said the last time the Kings had a better defense and offense was 2011, when they had the 20th best defense and the 25th best offense.
Is that
fucking miserable?
Is that the year Rondo? No, was that a Rondo year? Maybe.
No, that's far too. No, that's like 2016, 2015.
See, yeah,
because Rondo wasn't even remotely close to like prime Rondo. This was, to give you some reference, this is like a Jason Thompson, Hassan Whiteside, DeMarcus Cousins, Cassidy team.
Jesus Christ.
Rudy Gay.
Yeah.
Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay.
I just we had DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay and Rajon Rondo, who led the league in assists, and we are one of the worst offenses in the league. Yeah. That is like the biggest indictment of DeMarcus and Rudy Gay. Because I will go on Twitter and it's like, prime Rudy Gay was nice, and I'm like, what are we talking about? Like,
what are we doing?
What's going on? I feel like it's a tough concept to explain. But it's like, if you have a wing who is a good scorer but not a great one, doesn't facilitate at all, doesn't rebound, and doesn't defend, you actually don't have much in the first
Yeah.
place. Like his numbers look like a fringe all-star, but fringe all-stars average more points and more assists and are better on defense.
It's like
Anyone
The rant is
who
over.
anyone who tries to tell me that prime Rudy Gay was nice, I present to you last year's Kelly Oubre. He didn't get signed
Yeah,
until like way after free agency because everyone's like, yeah, dude, you average 20 points a game,
beat your ass at everything else.
but you're
it's
not
not
good.
good.
And
But you're not
It's
good.
pretty tough. But Rondo like was a monster ball stopper that year. He would just hold on to the basketball until there was like 1.5 seconds left and hot potato it to some poor fucker in the corner. And like sometimes they
Yeah.
made it. It's like, whoa, Rondo had 15 assists tonight. It's like, yeah, we scored 92 points. Like I just don't understand.
yeah, the only
Yeah.
reason I ask is just because you said like 25th, and one of my favorite shitpost stats is just that like every single year Rondo led the league in assists, it was like peaked at a bottom 10
Bad
offense. It was
offense.
like a 20th
hmm
offense or something like that. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, that sounds like some shit Rondo would be doing back in the day. You say prime Rudy Gay. Prime Rondo tricks people. You guys heard it
He
here
does.
first.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest Rondo hater on earth, and I did like I do a lot of like all time stuff and the all time rankings, and like everyone will mention in my comments like Rajon Rondo was the best point guard in the league at times, and I'm like, if you're drunk, like if you closed your eyes and made up whatever the fuck you want, maybe he was like the sky is the limit, but you don't give a shit and you're just making things up. Maybe yeah, he has some nice defensive years and he's a great playmaker, but Prime Rondo does trick people because he couldn't score of like. I mean, I have a top 75 point guards list ever. Like I go way deep. Of like I think he's like top 40-ish. Of that, he's the by far the worst scorer. He averages like 10 points a game and he stopped shooting free throws in like 2010.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't remember which player it is, but there was someone who played with Rondo and they had like a falling out and they went on a big tangent where they're like, at least my point guard doesn't fucking drive right, fake a behind the back pass, and then get like caught in the air every single time that he goes to the basket. And like looking back through Rondo's actual tape, it's like, holy shit. It's not just that there's no plan when he drives, it's that there's no plan and he has no prayer of like making the layup or anything like that.
Um, yeah, and you get these highlights that are like the behind the head thing to Ray Allen, like the behind the back to I think KG, but I forget, and it's like, how did he even see that? It's like, because he's guessing. He is guessing.
He's guessing.
Like, he doesn't actually see it. It just reminds me of one specific play. I haven't played organized basketball in a long time, but in high school, I I caught a rebound off a free throw, and I just kind of threw it behind my head, and someone happened to be cutting at the time, and my coach was like, "Dude, good pass," and I was like, "I didn't see him." Like I just kind of thought someone would be there. Like I didn't actually know someone was there. That was Rajon Rondo. He's guessing.
Yeah, well, now we're all on record being like fake ball knowers. I guarantee some guy who runs like a True Hoopers podcast is going to be like, these fucking dorks with their true shooting
These
percentage.
dorks,
They don't
they
know
don't
about
know.
prime Rondo, baby. All right. Now, this is not a shitting on Rondo podcast. This is a Kings podcast.
Can
So
we make it one? Can we make it? Can we change the title?
I
Let's
don't
read to
know.
the intro.
That would be a fun one, like a legit, just real haters hour and a half.
Just
Like,
an hour
just
long,
get
just
all your
hammer
player
on
I
Rondo.
grievances out there.
Be there.
Yeah. All right.
I'm much
Oh.
better at hating on players than I am at
Yeah.
analyzing them positively. So whenever you schedule that, I'll
Jordan
be there.
Poole pod is going to last 30 hours.
Go ahead, take over, King stuff.
All right. I actually skipped this one, but they go together fine. What are the expectations for this upcoming season looking like for you guys? What would a disappointing season and a surprisingly nice season look like? And then what do you realistically expect shit's gonna go down like? The West is really hard to guesstimate right now. I don't think we have a huge sample size, so if all of our predictions are blatantly wrong in a month and a half, I won't be shocked, but it's still fun to guess, I suppose. So what are you guys thinking?
As long as we're not in the play-in, I'm stoked. Whether we're the first seed or the sixth seed, as long as we are comfortably in the playoffs with 40-something wins, I am fine. I don't want to be in the play-in, no matter what, because I think with how our team looks at times, we can lose random games. We're going to drop a game to the Rockets. I'm telling you, we'll do that. It's just how it happens sometimes when you have a team with this many shooters. Guys just stop missing shots on random games. I don't want to be anywhere near the plan.
we take too many threes
We
to
take
feel
too many
comfortable
threes. Yeah.
in a one-off game. My expectations brought 47 wins, 5 to 6 seed. I think that, I mean, the difference between 5 and 6 seed is going to be a lot, because if you're looking at seed number 6, that's the 3-6 matchup. All of a sudden, it's like it's Golden State again, or it's Phoenix, or it's the Lakers, or something like that, which is terrifying. But I'm hoping for the second round. I just want to be a little bit better than
Yeah.
last year, so I can avoid the first round choking allegations. That will certainly come if we lose in the first round again. Um, yeah, just get a little bit better, a little better each year, and
Yeah.
hopefully next season continue to get better again.
As long as we can get to the second round and I can continue to push the fact that Domantas Sabonis and Joel Embiid have made it just as far in the playoffs, I'll be fine. That's cool. That's all I have to.
it,
That's all I want.
it's a fine line though, because it's like I'd be content with a second exit, and I would kill myself with the first round exit.
There's
So
no middle ground.
there's,
Yeah.
there's no middle ground. It's like either
Especially
I'm
if
like,
it's
oh,
if
this
it's
is
the
pretty good.
Warriors, you're never hearing from me
Oh,
again.
holy
Nah.
shit. Yeah, that's fucking
I had
brutal.
said that if we lost to the Lakers in the playoffs, like because it was pretty close to that matchup at some point,
Right.
I would have just walked into the forest and abandoned modern life and just see it, just with nothing to survive. Like the goal is just to see what kills me first out there. But I
Hmm.
think, yeah, I think that's a reasonable response to another first round exit. Just there's I live right next to Auburn. Like there's a bunch of forest up there. I could just kind of go up there.
You're
Yeah.
gonna go to the
Just get like a
bridge.
skinwalker, just snatches
Hey,
you up, man, you know?
is it the tallest bridge in the United States? Yeah,
Perfect.
I live about 30 minutes from the tallest bridge in the United
You're
States.
good.
It's so it's the difference between like, oh, it was pretty good to jumping off the Forest Hill Bridge.
Sweet.
Super easy drive.
Yeah, it was
Insane
scenic.
reference.
It
Oh
would
my
take you
god.
about a minute to get down.
Insane
It's pretty
reference to the
harrowing.
Forest Hill Bridge. I didn't expect that.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, disappointing season. I had the same shit written down pretty much. I wrote flirting with the play-in consistently throughout the regular season would still leave a bad taste in my mouth if I was a Kings fan. I know I'm not in it. I'm not in the fucking decades of like squalor that making the playoffs is like this grail of a thing. I expect them to be good enough to the point where like it's fine if they're in that 8 range for a stretch, like some weird shit's going on or whatever. But if they spend the entire season going like 6 to 9 to 7, back up to 5, like I would expect there's a stretch where they play really dominant basketball, everything clicks together, and they kind of establish themselves as a team that's like, I don't know, not overwhelming in the playoffs, but is very good. And I also would not want to be in the playoffs. I totally agree, or the play-in tournament, I guess. I totally agree with Jack there, just in the sense that, yeah, I mean, Herter has an off night. God forbid De'Aaron Fox, the elbow pull-up jumper, stops hitting, because then, I mean, I don't really know who else is capable of a mid-range jumper on this roster. Sabonis. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of guys who, as far as like can have an off night goes, there's a lot of them in Sacramento, and that would make me very nervous if I was a Kings fan.
Hell of a throwback to 2005 with talking about how we need to find a guy who can hit mid ranges. But hey, we're back. That's how you know the Kings are back in the playoffs, is when you need someone to make mid ranges.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is when you panic
yeah.
about when you were panicking about the play-in, I was like, you know what fucking rocks is when you actually just get like the best 2-man game in the league with guys who both don't miss mid-range jumpers like Jokic and Murray. If you just pick up 2 of those, you'll be fucking set. You won't drop a game like that anymore. I don't know why more teams don't do it, to be honest.
Super easy.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks to say it because, injuries are never fun to talk about. But I feel a lot better about the outlook this season now that Memphis sort of seems like they're going to fall back, because Ja is going to miss all that time. Adams is gone. Clark's is gone. It's just Xavier Tillman down there. What's he going to do against Sabonis? Gives us a better shot.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Steven Adams as a person rocks.
Love the guy. I've met him. He's a great dude.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. And it's not the fact that Steven Adams is missing. That's the straw that breaks the camel's back, because their star player is doing dumb shit off the court. Like, that's not an injury. And so I don't think you should feel bad that Memphis is kind of in the toilet. It is what it is.
It was 11 teams really competing for the play-in, and now it's kind of down to 10, which is nice. I wanted to
Yeah,
know
and the
about the
Clippers don't count, so
who knows what happened with the Clippers, but
Yeah. So what is like what's surprisingly nice look like for Sacramento? I wrote down the 3 seed again. I thought like Sabonis and Fox both kind of have career years playing off of each other. Keegan Murray takes a step forward. Everybody else kind of maintains stats. I feel like holding the seeding would be representative of Sacramento getting better as a team just because the rest of the West got so much better around them. Uh so yeah, that's what I had as surprisingly nice. What do you guys think?
I think it'd be 50 wins. I think that's the like whoa, like breaking the 50 win barrier is really really tough. I think with 50 wins, you'd probably look at a 3 seed, which is pretty crazy. I mean, obviously the Lakers and the Warriors started with losses, so they'll go about 82-0. With them out of the way, the sky's the limit at that point.
yeah.
Um, in the West, I mean, the difference between the 2 seed or the 3 seed and the 11 seed is going to be about 8 games. So you're going to have to really pull through. But I like to see development from Keegan Murray and 50 wins. That'd be the surprisingly nice pathway.
Mine would be basically the same thing: is Keegan Murray becoming, oh, this guy's going to be closer to a fringe all-star than this guy's going to be an awesome 3-and-D dude. That sort of development, and then 50 wins. 50 wins, top 3 seed in the West. That's the sort of season.
Hell yeah.
Keegan was putting the ball on the floor way more in preseason and way more last night as well. Like it got a little awkward at times, but that's the development you want to see from a
Mhm.
turret to someone that, like, if you bite on his a pump fake where he's shooting 40% on that shot, so it's terrifying,
Right.
equals like an actual effective drive. Um, yeah, and even if you get down there and don't shoot it, Sabonis is usually around, and if you can be a competent passer, kind of dump it down to him. If he's within 5 feet of the basket, he shot 60% from the field last year.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Denver guy, we've gotten the pump fake from a 40% shooter who's 6'10" in Michael Porter Jr. The dribble, competent passer, or finisher at the rim, we're all still kind of cooking those in the lab. It's a day-to-day basis kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know. Like he has moments where like he'll make a really smart pump fake and then there's clearly just nothing else in the bag, so it goes up anyways. And I don't
Yeah.
know, it rocks. He's a great shooter. I obviously love Michael Porter Jr., but I definitely think that is I don't know. Like that's my next question: is what player are you looking most forward to seeing progress this upcoming season? Keegan Murray is the obvious answer to me, just in the sense that like I think if you're trying to kind of fill that Harrison Barnes role, I know they're on the floor a fair bit together, but I think if you get Keegan Murray to like a competent offensive spot as a ball handler, as like a supplementary playmaker, just in terms of like continuing ball movement that other guys initiate, that would be really good for Sacramento. And I think he's capable of doing it. When you draft a guy who is you expect to make an impact immediately on a competitive team, he kind of gets underrated as like a prospect with his ceiling. But I think Keegan Murray can become like a fringe all-star, like Jack said.
Hmm.
I mean, the obvious choice is Keegan, just because he's the sophomore player. You're looking for his development. I think we'll get that. I'm gonna say De'Aaron Fox, because the difference between him right now and him, if he adds a competent outside shot, is like a fringe LNBA guy to this is a top 10 player in the league, and he's averaging 30 because no one can stay in front of him, and he at that point is like closer to Steph, because that's what makes Steph so good. Is not only is this guy shooting from 45 feet, you can't stay in front of him if you wanted to, and he's like one of the best finishing guards in the league. I always said that that's the most like underrated part about Steph Curry is that he finishes around anybody, and that's what makes his shooting so dangerous. It's almost like the reverse Steph Curry, where Fox is like the best finishing guard in the league with just an average outside shot or something. But I mean, of players that took the six or so threes he was taking last year, Fox was one of the worst, like 32%. He just isn't
Hmm.
a good shooter. And even then, when you know that isn't really coming, he just rip people apart going downhill. But I wanted him to develop that outside shot so badly, and then last season he comes up with this like the best mid range shooting since fucking Kobe Bryant and the clutchest player since Michael Jordan season. You're like, oh, like that's actually just as good. Like let's do that instead. Even just that much range, like 16 feet of range, made him just incredible and like a top 25-ish player in the league. And man, I want that outside shot so bad.
Yeah, it's the constant question with the Kings and specifically with Fox is he going to develop that outside shot? He had his career year. That was the best we've seen in terms of his outside shooting. I mean, he's had better numbers on worse volume, but that was our best season. If he can just get to 36%, that would be incredible. The bar is not insanely high.
And I mean,
he's so close to being that level of point guard.
Yeah, well, like that is the thing for Fox is just when you watch him, no stats, anything like that. This is a true Hooper's eye test moment. He's fucking terrifying to watch play basketball. In the clutch, even in like just like the regular minutes throughout the flow of the game, he doesn't stop the ball. He is so efficient with he maximizes every possession when he has the basketball in his hands and everything like that. And he really feels like if that shot develops, he moves way more into that Steph territory where he becomes like an overwhelming force on the basketball court that like it bends the entire game around him and what he's doing with or without the basketball. And he's only what? He's recently 25 or recently 20. Oh, no, he's almost going to be 26.
He's about to be 26.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that step is well within range. I think that's pretty clearly like the spot that he needs to work on, and he knows that, and he's gotten routinely better with every season that he's been in the league. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility at all.
There's a few other interesting guys on our fringes that I'd like to see some development from. Colby Jones was a guy we picked up in the draft, second round, 42nd overall. He was more projected as a late first. He dropped for some reason that I don't really understand yet, but he has looked nothing short of amazing in the preseason. So I'd be curious to see if he can figure out some way to sneak into the rotation. Again, just like Vezenkov, he's a $20 bill in your jacket pocket. It's just extra.
Yeah.
It's more like a dollar coin, but we're almost there. From it's like, do stores still take this? Like, can I buy things with this? I did like Kobe Jones. Jack was all over him. I had said to some friends like, hey, if Kobe Jones is playing, we're in rough shape. Means something bad happened. I don't think that's true anymore. I think true fandom is convincing yourself that every single player on your roster is good. One player, I guess I won't call it development, but just that I'd like to see actually play as Keon Ellis. I was calling for Malik Monk's head like a quarter through the season because his defense was bad and his shot wasn't falling. But with Keon, he's like 6'6". He was all defense in college. He can shoot threes. I'm not sure why he's not playing other than the fact that we have so many other guards. But I've convinced myself that on teams that lack guards, Keon Ellis would start.
Yeah.
He's an interesting piece. There's not a lot of people talk about him because he was not hyped at all coming out of school. He went to Florida Southwestern State College, so kind of coming from nothing. But I agree with Aaron.
Florida
He's an interesting
dude.
Oh man, a nationally renowned organization. I mean, just they're cranking out prospects over at Florida.
Okay, to be fair, just so I don't get exposed online, he did transfer to Alabama, but he started at Florida Southwestern State College.
I mean, I'm fine getting exposed. I don't really know that much about Keon Ellis as a guy who's not tapped into the Sacramento. Like, I haven't even heard the name. And I'm like a general hoop sicko. So I mean, I hope he works his way into the rotation if he's as good as you guys say. I'm pretty high on Malik Monk, so I don't know about this mystery man taking away minutes from the rightful sixth man of the year 2024 campaign. But yeah, I don't know. Another guy I would like to see develop a jumper is Sabonis elbow jumper or floater game. I don't think it transforms him into a force of nature the way it does with De'Aaron Fox. I think it completely changes the way that you can guard the Kings as a team, though. You can't if you just can't leave Sabonis open at the elbow, that opens up so much more space for like slashing lanes and all that. And like he would be good attacking mild closeouts just because he's such a fucking bruiser. Like he gets his shoulder into you halfway into the paint and he's at the cup before you know it. I would like to see it. I'm not going to hold my breath on it. Doesn't really feel like a guy who has focused so much on his strength throughout the years is really going to develop that shot in at least one off season. Maybe as he ages closer into his early 30s, late 20s, whatever, we'll see a little bit more of it. But I would like to see it. I don't know.
He's already so good at what he does. It's kind of hard to expect him to get. I mean, I don't expect him to just come up and shoot threes. I'm at this point. I've accepted that he's just not going to shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna stay in the paint, and what he does is really, really good. So it's really hard to complain about it. If Sabonis is not on the court for the Kings, their plus minus per 100 is negative 25. That's insane.
Jesus Christ.
Negative 25 if he's off the court.
I mean, yeah. I don't expect him to shoot threes or anything like that. It's just I hate it because I love Sabonis, and I am all in on him being like one of the most impactful players in basketball on one of the best offenses in basketball. I hate seeing Draymond Green just like find that hole in the armor and be like, okay, I'm not even fucking stepping towards you when you catch it at the elbow. And I would like for the whole series, I was just like, dude, punish him, please, hit it. Oh my god! And it never came, and it felt like I don't know, it just felt like that it really impacted how the Warriors were playing basketball in a way that I would like to see change. But again, I'm not going to hold my breath on it. It's just something that would be neat.
You ever shot a basketball with a broken thumb and bruised ribs? It's tough, man.
It's hard to do.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go. Next time we'll do this pod in person, I'm gonna step on both your ribs and see how many jump shots you can make. He took 2 threes last night.
He did.
Relatively efficient. Made one of them. That's all you need, really. Is like, can you take 2 a game at 34%? At least like, oh shit, like, he's wide open. That's something we even think about. Can he be more than what like Rudy Gobert is? Because if you're taking the same amount of jump shots as Gobert, like just because you think you might take it doesn't change anything. Like the output's still the same. I was gonna say my other breakout candidate, Harrison Barnes, any day now. His breakout campaign's coming. It's been in the works. It's been in the lab. We've been waiting on it. We signed him to that extension, and it's coming.
Damn. Harrison Barnes, I mean, obviously the nuke last night, 33, whatever. Feels like he should be close. I don't know. In my mind, I'm always like Harrison Barnes is almost Tobias Harris. Is that like an accurate assessment as guys who watch him more? How do you guys? I know we've talked this entire.
He's better than Tobias Harris.
You like him more? I like Tobias Harris. I think he's good.
Is he?
The vibes are better. The vibes are way better because Tobias Harris thinks he's an all-star. Like, and he's come out and said, like, I should have been an all-star a couple of seasons. Like, voters just don't look at me. And Harrison Barnes has never said that in his life. And that's that's a good demeanor to have if you are a very average wing.
See, if Tobias was on Harrison Barnes money, then this would be. I think we'd like Tobias a lot more.
Yeah, that's probably true. Tobias is on a scary contract,
scary contract.
That I mean, it might. If your second best player like demanded a trade and caused the collapse of your franchise or something like that, having a guy who's not that good on that kind of money would really put you in a bind. I don't know.
It would suck if that happened.
Yeah, that's unrealistic.
Totally. Not that I forgot, but I continuously forget that he is still on the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been in every single trade rumor that when I watch a Sixers game, I'm like, whoa, like, hey, there's Tobias Harris is still here. Like he survived the trade machine. Like I can't believe he made it.
Yeah. Bill Simmons has a great bit. I think he calls it a Tobias Harris game where it's any player like that, where then they have a breakout game. Harrison Barnes had one last night where it's like, holy shit, Harrison Barnes is still on the team. Like he just dropped fucking even like 18 out of Barnes. Feels like a good night at times. So I don't know. It's good to see him start the season strong, I guess. Maybe this is the year he makes the leap.
And what do we say though? What do we say on Friday? Guarantee 100% less than 12 points.
100%. He is.
Get...
I'd bet anything that it's going to be like 9 points, a rebound, an assist, and like 1 for 7 from 3.
The thing with Barnes is he disappears at times. I went to a game with a friend of mine, and a friend of his happened to be there, like across the stadium, and he had money on the points, rebounds, assists over for Barnes, and Barnes got within 1 and did actually nothing for the last 8 minutes of that game. They just ran around, didn't touch the ball. He got fouled 1 point, missed both of them, and watching that friend lose his mind from like 500 feet away was hysterical.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Poor guy. But I mean, that's what you get for, I don't know, corrupting your soul with the evils of gambling. I know nobody in this call would ever do anything like that.
Never.
I'm betting $100 on the Barnes under. I gotta check what that is. I wonder if Prize Picks.
I can
has
tell
it
you
yet.
what it is too. That's how much I do it.
Do you know what it is right now? What's the
it's
line?
11.5.
11.5.
Yeah.
Oh damn. So he would.
Debates.
I
He would
guess
get
that's
that.
what it was. I guess that's what it was
good.
last night. I don't know that for sure.
According
The
to your
12 points was good. I
projections.
guess that.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
you get that 12 Friday, you're hammering the over. Damn. All right.
What's the points, rebounds, assists? Because
I don't
that's
know.
probably better.
11. You had 11 last night.
If he scores, if he gets to 12, there's no way he's rebounding also. Just saying, it's not going to be a good Barnes game.
All right, you heard it here.
What if he just drops 33 again? What happens?
Know, I'd start going.
I think we have to have like an emergency podcast, or like I don't know what we have to do.
Hop on
something.
Well, then the next
game,
he's
God again.
Career-ending injury. Like 2 30 pieces back to back for Harrison Barnes at this point means he's sold his soul, and like he's not finishing the week playing basketball.
Yeah,
it's the Barnes equilibrium. No matter how much energy you put out one way, it has to come back the other way. Back to back 30 pieces would be like an elephant's foot of nuclear energy, and the way that would swing back would be catastrophic.
He just doesn't score for the rest of the season. Like that's just it.
Barnes,
he's done.
0 for 80 in this last week.
NBA's Chernobyl.
Make a shot.
They're like, nobody has scored on the side of the floor Harrison Barnes has been on in 2 months. What's going on
He's
with
a
the
black
Kings?
hole.
Yeah,
I
have to take away my dog's Harrison Barnes jersey and start wearing it if he's good again. This is tragic.
Oh man,
are you and your dog about the same size?
No, but like the Fanatics store had a glitch where they sold child's youth small jerseys for like $10.99, and I thought it was hilarious. So I bought a Harrison Barnes jersey for my dog, and he wears it. It's great.
I bet he was super happy last night then.
He had no idea.
We didn't expect him to have an idea, but
no clue. None.
All right. The next question I got for you guys, getting us back on serious basketball discourse. I want to know, I feel like the Kings are always on the other end of this question. Oh, we would like the Kings in the first round. What realistic playoff teams would you guys feel comfortable going up in the first round against? I'm not going to say like, are you dying to see or anything like that? Any team in the playoffs in the West this year to me is probably going to be fairly competent. Is going to give you kind of a tough series. So, like, who are you comfortable with in the first round if you're Sacramento?
Clippers.
So mean.
Give me the Clippers. Oh my God. Yeah, give me the Clippers. We own them all. Like, we had their number all year last year. We really did. And even when they had George and Leonard rolling, they still weren't beating us. Domantas Sabonis and Ivica Zubac might be the most, like, that's just a horrible matchup for the Clippers. Horrible. Covington on Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray just runs circles around his old ass. It's just, the Clippers don't have a great rotation to deal with the Kings.
Aaron, how you feel about that? Yeah, like how you feel about the Clippers?
I'm such a pessimist. I look at all these teams and I'm like, God, we're fucked. But we're actually pretty good at basketball sometimes. The Clippers are an interesting one. I feel like they have the wings to really attack us, but I just don't think that team is very good, period. I think you're going to be looking at them winning 40-ish games. I'm not really worried about them. There's almost no way. I guess if the Kings are a 3 seed, like then you probably see that. But are the Clippers a 6 seed? Like we'd have to be way better than expectations to net a matchup like that. Man,
I mean, you could go over teams that I think we're screwed against. So Nuggets,
can't
Suns,
handle. Yeah,
probably Lakers.
No, honestly, I think the Lakers can't play with the same kind of speed the Kings have.
If it's the Lakers that we saw last night, then no. But if it's last year's playoff Lakers, then I don't think so.
When did
Certainly
last
not
year's playoff Lakers have that this team doesn't? At least for the
the
first game.
Warriors series. I don't want to. I'm going to pretend, for the sake of this argument, that the Nuggets versus Lakers system, that whole series just never happened. It's somewhere else, some
Sure.
other multiverse. They look good against the Warriors. They handled Stephen Curry. They were able to make sure that offense, which killed us, didn't do anything. Their
I'll say
defense
that
looked solid.
I'll toss the Thunder out there, just another young team, like a younger
Mm.
team with even less center depth, just for Sabonis to kind of feast on. Dallas, I mean, Kyrie and Luca are scary. The rest of that team is not good. Derek Lively played really well
Mm.
last night, but I wouldn't read too much into that just to start. I mean, you're trying to find offense versus offense matchups, teams that we could just kind of run with.
So, you know,
Minnesota's interesting because
mm,
I feel like Sabonis, like Gobert, is a very good rim protector, but the thing with the modern day rim protector is you can kind of still post them up, like traditional post players. Like you saw Jokic, like just eat Davis alive in game one because even though Davis is a game altering defensive talent that changes how the drives are happening and what kind of shots are being taken, if you just go straight at his chest, they tend to be a little too thin and limber to handle that kind of physicality. And of course, like the Timberwolves are just as sad of a franchise as we are, so maybe the basketball gods would have pity. Yeah, those are some good matchups.
not the Warriors. No chance. I never want to see the Warriors
No,
again.
that's probably a bit
Okay, but part of me
intimidating.
feels like I want to play the Warriors and the Lakers because, like, I would be taking my trip to the Forest Hill Bridge if we lose to the Lakers in the playoffs. Like, I just don't think I could handle a whole off season of fucking Lakers fans.
Right.
Um, but like, if you beat them, like, I'm gonna post a video every day talking about it. Hey
Every
guys,
day.
remember we beat the Lakers in the playoffs? I was awesome. I wouldn't like. Let's talk about it again.
Yeah.
Recapping game one, quarter two, part four.
Oh yeah.
Like, here we are.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who has experienced that entire spectrum of emotion, I was on the circuit being like, I respect the Lakers. I think we got it. Like, I was terrified to say anything just because, like, the moment I put words out into the world, they become real and then they manifest themselves into the opposite of what I said. And now, after the fact, I'm like, dude, why the fuck, like, I don't know. Why did people think like that was going to be a series? Just in the sense that like we let Facu Campazzo, Will Barton, Austin Rivers minutes kind of dilute how good Jokic is when there's just guys who can make open shots around him. And so now that we're in like the after effect of that, it fucking rocks. Anytime a Lakers fan has anything to say to me, you could just be like, you know what? Fuck
Yeah.
you, buddy. Actually, I forgot. So if you could get that on the Warriors,
Oh wait.
it's the best feeling in the world. But I don't know if the Warriors are like I don't know if Steph's at that age yet where I would feel comfortable going at him carrying an offense. And I think I don't know. I don't know what Kuminga's going to look like. I don't know what the rest of the team's going to look like. Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, they didn't look very good the other night. I'm not going to bet against Steph Curry right now, though. The three I had written down were Thunder, youth, and experience actually go. Well, experience goes for the Kings at this point, and you could exploit that a little bit. Clippers or Pelicans, obvious health reasons. I think they'll both be in positions for the matchup, maybe, depending how it shakes out. But Zion could be fucking cooked by that point. Probably will be if history reigns true. And then I had the Grizzlies if they make it, which I mean feels like a huge if at this point. It's probably
Right.
not going to happen, but I would love to see a
No way.
series of Sabonis, like Aaron said, going into the chest of someone like Jaren Jackson
Mm.
Jr. Because I think that physicality wise is a phenomenal matchup for the Kings, but it's probably not going to manifest.
Probably not.
Zion did look really good last night. How many games do you think we get of this? He was 23 points
Yeah.
in 32 minutes and had some just crazy dunks. But I mean, he looks heavy. Like I was in high school, like I was a senior when he was when he was in high school. I wonder if we're the same age. I actually haven't checked that.
Wow, that was really dumb. Holy shit.
How old is Zion?
He's probably 24, 25 at this point.
Oh, okay, he's way older. Okay, never mind.
Let's
Maybe
see.
I was a junior. Anyways, not important. But I remember watching
He's
like his.
he's 23.
Oh
He's
shit.
just
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 23 on the 9th of November, so we're almost there.
Our
Um,
birthdays are only a week apart, bro. What the fuck?
when's your birthday?
November 2nd.
Oh man! All right, we'll have a Scorpio party.
Perfect.
Okay, but Zion in high school and even at Duke was like, this is the greatest athlete I've ever seen. Have you ever seen someone of that size jump that high? And it's no longer like that's a big athlete now. It's like look how high the fat guy jumps. It's like it's not as it's. I worry about his knees because you only have so many of those jumps in you. Like the body has just it's not in years when your body ages by 28, 29. That's just when you tend to run out of like jump uses. You only have so many of those.
Yeah, Zion. I mean, when we were watching Zion in high school and at Duke, it was like this thing where it's like like this guy defies the laws of physics just in terms of like what we've seen a human who's built like that do athletically. And now it feels like the pendulum is swinging the other way. We're like, okay, yeah, this actually makes perfect fucking sense that a guy who explodes at 280 pounds and like hits his head on the backboard 8 times a game as his entire approach to offense, yeah, he can't play anymore. That doesn't really surprise me that much. That actually makes perfect sense. But it is still, I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch him until he retires. It's just, I don't know. It's hard
Yeah,
because,
in a couple years.
yeah, because like with
What?
Embiid, who had those foot injuries, you see him completely change the way he plays basketball. And because he is gifted height wise and agility wise, he's able to do that. He's able to like shift towards a game that like protects his body and things like that while doing a bunch of stuff at a really high level. If Zion can't jump high, um, like what's his comp? I mean, like he's not.
Eddie
David
Curry.
Roddy.
Yeah, Kenny Lofton. I mean, holy shit! It's
Kenny
Yeah.
Eddie Curry, Oliver Miller,
It is Bryant Reeves,
Brian. Yeah, Brian.
Sim Bular.
big country. I'm dead. Bryant Reeves is a deep cut.
I
Yeah.
I think that the biggest issue is when have we ever seen someone with weight issues fix it? Like we always talk about like, oh, if he gets the weight under control, that hasn't happened. Like if you
Jokic,
can
but
find me an
that's it.
example
And
of the history,
Jokic doesn't jump anyways, so it doesn't matter.
he doesn't jump. That's the thing. Like even like Kevin Love was bigger in Minnesota, but he also very vertically challenged.
Yeah.
And like you're asking like Zion to be, can Zion be what Kevin Love became? Like can he be what Jokic is? Of course not. But like you look at like heavy NBA players, either they are, I guess, Shaq, right? But like Shaq didn't deal with it. He was just fat. Like
Yeah.
he just was heavy. That leaned into his game at that size though.
Weirdly, the only person I can think of who like did a big major weight loss journey mid-season was Kendrick Perkins,
Oh.
who dropped
Yeah.
like 40 pounds in a year at some point.
There you go. There's your Zion comp.
Kendrick
There you go. He's
He's
Kendrick
he's
Perkins if you could figure it
That's
out.
fucking
But
poetic.
I just
Poetic.
it being that heavy is just what he is. And like if you can't lose weight in the NBA with like people basically babysitting you, hey man, don't eat that Pop Tart. Like he's gonna eat the fucking Pop Tart.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck with that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. Fuck Zion, but also back to the point. So I like the Clippers. For the Kings as well. Like Jack said, I don't think they're that good of a basket. Even when Kawhi and Paul George are cooking, like when you saw Kawhi last season against Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, it felt like those teams were just kind of like evenly matched going back and forth with each other with Kawhi playing at a fucking nuclear level. And that Devin Booker Kevin Durant team was not that good. Like Devin Booker's insane, one of the best players on the planet, absolutely. Same with Kevin Durant, but as like a team, as a roster that played basketball, the Suns weren't that good. And the fact that like with a healthy Kawhi, this like mythical creature that we always talk about, maybe if they can string a couple games out of him, they were just kind of like on par with that Suns team. I think that's a team that the Kings, through the power of friendship and all that shit, should be able to like band together and beat. I think that's like a quality basketball team that they could take in a series.
Through the power of math. Math is helpful. We take way more threes than the Suns are gonna take. Also, underrated point with the Clippers is like Russell Westbrook's on that team. playing Russell Westbrook in the playoffs is an automatic W. Do you guys know what?
James Harden's about to be on
Oh
that
my
team too.
God.
That's okay. I mean, Russell Westbrook hasn't won a playoff series in which he played the entire series since 2016 round 2 versus Spurs. I mean, it has been that long. It's basically just like, it's legacy points to whoever catches a Westbrook team in the first round. Like, yeah, they got to the second round. It's like, yeah, but you played Westbrook. Sorry, half a win.
Damn, that's crazy because he's been to the It's not like he's missed the playoffs every single year since
No.
the
He
2016.
lost.
I mean, yeah, he's made it constantly, and it's just yeah, the Mitchell loss,
Can I
the
read
Dame
some?
loss, yeah. If you got the record, read it off. Let me hear it.
I got him. So they blew the 3-1 lead to Golden State. Then they lost in 5 games to the Houston 2017. 2018, 6-game loss to rookie Donovan Mitchell. 2019, they get fucking destroyed by Dame in a 5-game series. Then they do beat OKC, the Chris Paul OKC team in 2020, but Westbrook only plays in 3 games. 2020 versus the Lakers losing 5, 2021 versus Sixers losing 5, 2023 versus Suns losing 5. That's tough, man.
Yeah, that's not good. That's actually bad. If I had to go on the record as having a take on that. And I think not surprising, but if we did the True Haters 1.5-hour podcast, I would schedule a good 40 minutes for Aaron and Westbrook to kind of hammer their shit out.
I am so. Oh my God, the hate podcast is needed.
I have perfected the anti-Westbrook argument. That's like one of my best ones. I have some good analogies, some good data.
I always thought it would have been funny if Westbrook went and joined up with Harden and Embiid on the Sixers and just created the ultimate playoff dropper team.
Oh my God,
I was ready for it. Teams getting swept by anyone.
I had to stop posting videos like that because I just was becoming the Westbrook hating guy. Then I'm like, okay, I really gotta stop. I just got too good at it. I'm like, man, I can't get any better at this unless people are gonna start.
Well, it doesn't help that his fans, as far as individual player fan bases go, not just the easiest to piss off, like you say, Russell Westbrook is just even below average at basketball. They're coming at you 100%. Also, some of the most entertaining to go back and forth with because it's just a different reality that these people live in. Don't get me wrong, I'm not as harsh on Westbrook as you are. I have a soft spot for him a little bit just in terms of entertaining athletes, but the way that his fans talk about him is he hasn't done, we have been on a different planet since 2016. It's fucking crazy.
It's a different universe. Although I have to say, he did look nice against Portland. Westbrook facilitated really well against a young team, and the Clippers demolished the Blazers. I mean, I had to convince a lot of people the Blazers would be bad this year. I'm like, hey, they're one of the worst teams. They're super young. Scoot Henderson's a young point guard. It's going to be some growing pains. But that was a pretty sobering game for a lot of Blazers truthers hoping for a DeAndre Ayton resurgence, and he went out and dropped 4 points and 5 fouls. It's okay, maybe not this. Maybe this is not the year.
Yeah. All right. Moving off the hate, moving off Westbrook, we'll give him a break because I do want to go on record. He's a nice guy. Everybody likes him in the locker room. We can say that. Sure. But all right. Which team do you guys think is winning the NBA title? Let's get this on the record.
Jack Aaron? Only asked this question. He only asked this question because he knows it's the Nuggets.
Yeah.
This is just.
Hey, I don't know.
He just wants to hear other people say it.
This could be anybody, guys. I don't know. If you know ball, there might be an answer that you would gravitate towards or something like that. But Bradley Beal could move the needle. Somebody, I don't know.
Bradley Beal hasn't played. He is still load managing.
I tried to tell people that the Phoenix thing. Obviously, Phoenix won their first game, and I was very impressed from their role players. But the fact that they're load managing Bradley Beal and Booker's not even playing tonight. It's game 2. That's insanity. I don't think they're gonna be a top seed, and I don't think they're gonna have a great run in the playoffs. Anyways, Denver.
Aaron, I have some nasty clips of you talking about my boy Nurk. If he has a good year this year,
he looked good, man. He looked good. Well, his issue
Fuck
has always
Yusuf
been health.
Nurkic. I'm not going. No, I'll go on the record right now. That's a fake game. Draymond Green didn't play. I guarantee Draymond Green plays that game. The Suns are doxing Yusuf Nurkic by halftime. He's not him, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. It's the okay. It's the Nuggets. The Nuggets should be the favorites. They won the title. They brought all their guys back. Their bench is a little thin, but seemed capable. Reggie Jackson looked fine. Um, I like their younger guys, and honestly, the thing is, like, Jokic makes everyone better. Like, even if they just bring in a random young players, just plug and play, see who can cut to the basket well enough, and they'll be productive.
Yeah, it's just the LeBron effect again, essentially.
Mm.
Where if you've got a guy who can run and shoot, that guy is going to look unreal. KCP looks so good for the Nuggets. It irritates me how perfect he is as a role player. Every single team in the NBA would kill to have KCP on the roster.
Yeah.
I also think it's gonna be the Nuggets. It's so boring. It's so boring, and I'm really tempted to pick Boston, but they never do it. They never do it. Every single year, I look at Boston's roster and I think, hey, you know what? Maybe this is their year. The East looks weak. I mean, for the last 4 years, it has been the same thing. The East looks weak. They made a great trade. Their roster looks deep, and then they don't do it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
I see the easiest path forward with Boston for that this year.
Mhm.
It's just Al Horford is fucking geriatric. Porzingis
Mhm.
easily last year could have been an outlier year in terms of like health and durability and things like that. I would assume that's why his contract like extension was only 2 years with Boston. They're really trying to feel out where he's at physically and things like that. If one of those two guys goes down for an extended period of time, like they are non-existent with a front court. And I mean, for if you run into Milwaukee, if you run into Philadelphia, for as much as we shit on Embiid in the playoffs, I think they would have a really hard time just like if he gets 3 fouls quick on Porzingis or something like that. Even if you're asking them to cover Bam Adebayo for stretches with like nobody in the front court, it's going to be hard. And the same for Milwaukee and Phoenix. It's just feels like there's a lot of star power on all three of these teams, and I want to see them supplement it with like bench pieces as best they can throughout the course of the season before I really get moved off my Denver throne, I suppose. Not to crown myself the King Nuggets fan, but I am pretty
Right.
fucking awesome. So I guess that's what we're doing. I'm tentative Denver right now. Maybe the Milwaukee game tonight. They just fucking nuke or Philadelphia off the
Right.
face of the earth, and I moved a little bit. But right now, I'm tentative Denver.
Boston is so hard because that top six is probably the best top six in basketball. It's so good. But the second you get beyond that, I last night they legitimately played the American Hero lineup, the Patriot lineup. And if I
January
see
6th lineup.
if I see the Patriot lineup again, I'm gonna be so pissed. If I see that in playoff time, they're losing whatever series they're playing in. I don't want to see an iota of Sam Hauser in the playoffs or
I
Luke
mean,
Cornett, God forbid.
we know how the Celtics season goes. They're going to win 55 games. They're going to look awesome. And then the Heat beat them in 6 in the end. And it doesn't matter what's going to happen before that. It's just an inevitability that we're going to run into. Honestly, though, for Philly, how about this? With no Harden, Philly isn't a top seed. They don't see the Celtics in the second round. They get them in the first
Oh
round.
shit!
Philly wins
Oh my
first round series. Now, they're going to smoke them in the first. They would lose in 4 in the second. It'd be an easy second round loss. First round matchup because Philly's like a 6 seed, like a 7th seeded Sixers team, like tanking just to match up with the Celtics.
Oh, so I'm hearing the Cavs are coming out of the East. Is that what
Oh
I'm hearing?
shit! Donovan Mitchell,
Is that what I'm
No
hearing?
he
Evan
finally
Mobley.
gets past the brutal Knicks. The lights aren't too bright for him
Max Strus.
anymore. Okay, I don't know.
I'm so in on
Moving,
that
yeah.
team. Oh my god, the thing they showed last night.
I just love with Cleveland. I love Evan Mobley too much. Like I
Mm.
am so willing to like overlook how he's kind of stagnated offensively a little bit, and like how it makes like he has the same problem Sabonis has offensively in terms of being incapable of hitting like a 15, 16 footer consistently. He's just also not like a really good passer or interior scorer, but he's so good defensively that I'm like, dude, this guy, they should have just fucking committed to building around him entirely. When in reality, if I step back, moving for Donovan Mitchell is probably a smart move, even if he leaves for New York or whatever. But yeah, I'm a huge
Yeah.
Mobley guy, so I like Cleveland. I just when they really get into a shootout and like it boils down to having the best players in the series, I don't think they're better than Milwaukee, Miami, Boston, maybe
Yeah.
Philadelphia if Jared
I'm just
Allen.
glad they took a step out of the past because last season they ran that god awful grit and grind bullshit that I sat there watching them like, oh my god, use Garland, use Mitchell, you have these guys, use them, and they're trying to do this grit and grind thing, and it looks like from the first game I'm totally overreacting, but they're doing the run and gun thing, which is nice
Yeah, that's
We'll have
because
to see with Jared Allen coming back. But I also want to note I was looking at the games for today. ESPN, 7 p.m. Suns Lakers players to watch: LeBron James of the Lakers and Yusuf Nurkic of the Suns. The two stars collide. Only one will make it
yeah.
out.
oh my god.
Speaking of true American heroes from before, you don't like Jonathan Isaac because you're the Antichrist. Repent and believe in Christ,
Holy
heathen.
shit! Who the fuck said
Is that a
that?
That's a
comment?
great comment.
Holy
That's an
shit!
awesome one.
Hell yeah!
Whoa! Did someone comment that?
Yeah,
Oh my god!
I mean,
This
good.
this does not bode well for the Jew only section of the Hoopstemple podcast. Sorry.
oh, that's I mean, yeah, Jonathan Isaac, he looked good. He looked good. It's just hard to get behind him
Yeah,
after that bubble shit.
yeah,
I was all in on
yeah.
him before that, and then like he full on pivoted into being like a right wing grifter, going to like Ben Shapiro conferences and shit. And I'm just like, well, I don't know. Yeah, you can be like a pretty good
Yeah.
guy who plays 40 games over 3 years, and I'm probably done with this
I
experiment.
don't
I
blame
think
the guy if
40
he's a big
games is too high.
Isaac
I think
fan.
it's 20.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
lower.
I don't blame
yeah.
him. I mean, that video is 30 seconds of me calling him racist. So, like, you know, it's whatever.
He's the thin blue line, dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's got that going.
Which
for him.
sucks because I love Orlando. I'm a dork for
I know.
Orlando. And
Yeah.
then like he just flies in for like a highlight block, and I'm like, the thin blue line. Okay, damn, good job, man.
Yeah. If Isaac does get too injured to play professional basketball, his like post career Enos Cantor arc is gonna be fucking deadly. It's gonna be just
I mean, Cantor did
it's
it. He
gonna
was not good ever. Jonathan Isaac at least
No.
has like
yeah.
he's talented ish. He's a great defender, fine offensively, I guess. If Enos can't,
It doesn't does that change anything though? Because Cantor, like even Fox News would say like NBA star speaks out and hates women. Like they're not gonna say like average NBA player.
Middling role
They're all
player who
NBA
suffered
stars.
injuries has some thoughts on
Yeah,
this.
oh.
slow-footed big man. Slow-footed center hates women. 4 at 5.
and they're just like rolling Blazers highlights of him like grabbing an offensive rebound, 3 pump fakes, gets fouled. That's it. Like that's his whole arc in Portland. So
All the games, they're like down 40. He's only in the last 5 minutes.
I love it when he tweets out highlights like that. Like personally,
Yeah,
he
it's
like
great.
sees the hate and he's like, "This is what I used to be on. Don't forget." And it's like, holy shit, these are all like awful teams.
2019 Knicks, 2021 Knicks shit. Seriously.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I got for you today. We're all tentative Denver right now. Maybe Boston. Yeah. All right. Understandable. Boring answers are usually correct pretty routinely. So yeah, I'm on the same boat. Is there anything you guys want to plug while you have this podcast as a platform? I think the last time I sent it to Aaron. So Jack, you go first.
I mean, the people can find me on TikTok, shit posting as usual, at JackTheKingsFan. And also, you should be listening to the Hoopstemple podcast. There's lots of good stuff there.
Whoa, he kind of
You can
jumped
find
your
me?
he kind of jumped your shit, Aaron. What are you gonna do?
No, we co-op some stuff. You can find
Yeah.
me at the Possiblechairs on TikTok, pretending that I watch basketball, and the Hoops Temple podcast most of the time.
Perfect. Yeah, you can find me at JokicJoestar. If you're not already following me, I don't know how you found this shit to begin with, but at JokicJoestar on all socials, go check it out. Go check these guys out. Support everything they tell you to support without even thinking about it. Follow all of the political messaging that they put out. Consume, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.